Most people don't realize it, but some of the animals most important to our ecosystem don't come from the land or in the water, but from the sky. Let's take a look at some of the birds native to Northwest Arkansas. Hi, I'm here with Lynn Scumbato of the Morning Star Wildlife Rehab Center. Hi Lynn, thanks for having us.
Hi.
Now can you tell us a little bit about this place and how you got started?
Well, I have been doing wildlife rehabilitation for 22 years. Basically, what wildlife rehabilitation is I take in injured, orphaned, hurt, sick, native wildlife.
And they're just brought to this place to you?
Right. Or to the vet. They come into the vet. I work with game and fish closely, or people just bring animals out here. The purpose being to get them well enough, old enough, healthy enough to be released back into the wild.
Right. Now, where are we right now in this cage?
We are in what's called a flight pen. This is for conditioning purposes. Big birds of prey that have been injured have been not flying for a while, whether it's broken wings or broken legs, whatever it is. And before they can be released, after the bones have healed or whatever it is that's wrong with them, they need some time to fly and get their muscles back. Now, and that's what this is for.
I noticed that you've got quite a few in here as well. What kind of birds do you have right now?
In this particular pen, a couple of red-tailed hawks and great horned owls, turkey vultures, and at the very back on the ground is a bald eagle that is non-flighted.
Now, Lynn, what is it that we're standing in front of right now?
This is the songbird flight pen. This is 95% of the birds in here came in as babies that I raised by hand, and they come out here to learn how to be real birds before I release them back to the wild.
What's the primary reason that they're brought here?
Well, most of the time they end up on the ground somewhere as babies. And a whole lot of them don't even need to come in for rehab. Now, any kind of baby bird with no feathers has got a problem if they're on the ground, because birds can't carry their babies back up into the nest. But any baby bird that's on the ground, that's hopping around and has some feathers, is supposed to be on the ground. Even though they can't fly, almost every baby bird leaves the nest before they can fly. And Mom and Dad take care of them on the ground and feed them and all this kind of thing. But, and I get a lot of those that people think that it's an injured baby or something, and they're not. They're supposed to be on the ground learning how to eat from Mom.
Well,
you know?
The ones that do get brought in, what's the process that they go through with the rehabilitation?
Well, depending on how small they actually are, for the most part, they start out in the house in little artificial nests on heating pads. And they get fed real regularly, because baby birds eat every half hour during the day. Thank goodness they don't eat at night. Yeah. But anyway, once they're old enough to start flying, then they can move out here. But little birds have to be able to do two things before they can actually be released. One is fly. Luckily, they learn that on their own. But the other is they have to be able to find their own food. And normally, they would be following mama bird around, you know, learning from her.
Right.
But they come in here and they just get to practice on all the food that I put in here. And eventually the light bulb goes off and they figure out they can get it on their own.
Now, this is the actual intensive care unit.
This is the intensive care building, yes.
What goes on here?
Especially with the birds of prey, if they are really injured, really sick, this is where they go in individual cages until they're better, until they're able to fly, and then they go out into the flight pens.
What qualifications do you have to do this with all the birds?
In order to work with any songbirds or birds of prey, raptors, you have to have federal permits. Now, to do mammals requires a state permit.
And now, why is it important for the ecosystem that you're rehabilitating these birds?
Well, I teach ecology at Rogers High. The first rule of ecology is that everything is related to everything else. When something happens to some part of the environment, it's going to affect other parts of the environment. The whole thing is a chain. You take out part of the chain, it breaks. And we need to keep as much of the chain together as we can. Besides the importance to the ecosystem, it's the importance to humans. Humans need to have this connection. And so many people don't. And people want to help. And the people that contact me, that have a baby bird, that have a baby bunny, whatever it is, they want to be able to help. And they can't help by themselves. And so that's why I'm here.
Now, who is this we have with us?
This is Joey, who is a barred owl. These are the owls that we find in the woods, around the lake. You know, any place where you've got a lot of woods, you've got a lot of barred owls. These are also the ones that most people hear because they're very vocal owls, and they do a lot of talking.
Now, how did Joey get to?
Joey came in 18 years ago as a baby, and he had fallen out of the nest, which normally is not fatal or a terrible thing. Happens a lot. However, when he fell, he broke his wing, and it never healed. It's healed well enough that he can fly, but not well enough to be released. He's not a 100% flyer. Barred owls are little bitty birds covered in a whole bunch of fluffy feathers, and so if I stick my finger inside his feathers and stop when I get to bird, that's how far my finger goes. So, you know, they're not big. They're not big birds, but they have a big presence. Wow. when you hear them out in the woods.
It's very beautiful. Well, Lynn, thank you so much for your time. It was great meeting you.
It was nice to meet you, and it was fun.
It was fun. Now back to you, David.